Hi y'all, thanks for ordering your Make a Tabletop Terrarium kit. I'm Monique Caponelli, with owner of Articulture Designs. We're based here in Austin, Texas, but sharing our love of our botanical art to the whole world. We're excited to get going and share this design of beautiful living art with you for your home or your office. Hey y'all, let's take a look at what you received today in your Tabletop Terrarium kit. You may have ordered the spherical glass piece, or you might have ordered the luxe gold faceted square vessel to use. We've sent you with some beautiful decorative gravel. This is what is going to be our main medium today to work with. You also received maybe some different kinds of shells or something unique to kind of top dress with as well, and possibly different colored recycled glass. Of course, the most important part, your plants. You received a different variety of texture and color variation, different specimens. We like to curate this kit, all different kinds of plants, but also complementing one another. So you guys are working with a good palette to really create a beautiful living piece of art here. Some different thimble cactus, some different color and also texture, height variation again, some interesting kind of chrysilla, some little low-level kind of ground cover sempervivums. You also received some air plants. Air plants are a non-soil based plant. So as you see me build this and go through the design tutorial, we're going to look at how to work and plant these correctly. Also some type of wood, some chunk, some sculptural element to include in your piece. Some different glass chunks to add again some kind of boulder element and some kind of texture in here at your own artistic discretion. We like to send you guys with a bunch of stuff to play with so you're inspired to create your unique piece. Possibly some different kinds of shells and of course a scoop, very handy. Some tools to work with, different tools. This is a pick that is really helpful for getting in places. The pointed end is a good cleaner, as well as the paintbrush is also really good to clean your plants at the end, or just kind of use as another little finger point. You'll see sometimes it's difficult to get places, so we almost use the tools together. It's almost to help extend our fingers if you're having a hard time getting to a place. And then also some different moss. This is a reindeer moss that we have in my kit today. But again, you guys are gonna be sent with all different kind of elements, curated to put together a beautiful composition of living art. Now let's walk through how to put this together and what goes first. All right, we're gonna put this together. And the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take our decorative gravel and we're gonna make a nice layer in our terrarium first before we put our plants in. We've bare rooted your plants for you, but we really need a bottom. We need to, it's two things that's happening. We're covering the root system, the soil. We're also creating a nice medium for these plants to grow into. So I'm gonna use a few scoops here to kind of give me a nice level of gravel. Ooh, a little volunteer shell, pretty. And I'm not putting all my gravel, I'm just putting a little bit. And we're gonna use this as our bottom soil. I'm gonna start with my biggest piece of plant. This is a variety of a Haworthia. We've done a good job in bare rooting and prepping the best we can, but of course this is an opportunity for you to take a look at the plant. Is your plant have a little dead leaf at the bottom? We go ahead and deadhead it before we plant it, so we're working with a nice clean specimen. My glass here doesn't have a back, so I'm gonna really be conscious of how I build, and I'm not gonna block my back area so I can't get to it. So with the plant, you can see those roots kind of sticking out. I'm gonna kind of gently twist, and I'm gonna use my tool. This is a good tool to use, either the pick or the bottom of the paintbrush, and I'm just gonna kind of start to tuck these roots into the gravel. And then I'm gonna take that gravel that I have in there, and I'm gonna kind of backfill and push it in. And I'm gonna push this guy to the back. Again, you guys were sent different specimen of cacti and succulents. So I'm gonna start my terrarium. I'm gonna build from the back forward. I don't wanna put my biggest specimen in the front, and I have all this stuff to get in there. You'll be surprised how much you can get in your terrarium. All right, so I'm good. I like the orientation of that. I'm gonna take the next specimen I have here. Different levels and heights and stuff. I'm gonna get this little guy right next to, and again, I'm using my tool, I'm kind of burying my roots, but I'm running out of gravel in here to kind of backfill. So I'm gonna take a couple scoops here and add. The reason I'm not adding all my gravel at once, because I don't want to fill my level of gravel before I get the opportunity to put my plants in. I want this to feel very planted and well, but I don't want it to feel like I'm already at the top of my glass. If you're having trouble getting to the back with your gravel or your glass at the end, a little trick I do is kind of take my shovel back in the back and then take my paintbrush and I'm gonna just kind of like scoot and push. And it's okay if some of this gets in the middle of the plants. Again, we'll kind of clean that up at the end. But got to make sure that my roots are covered. They need to be buried. Good. This is about a good level to continue adding. Sometimes I'll take my glass and I'll kind of like gently tip. That'll help get my gravel at a nice level. Okay. Got some small little guys that I'm going to use next. You can see very small, very shallow, very thin roots. So how do I get this in without planting? It's too small sometimes for me to do this technique. I'm going to do the burying. Sometimes I'll let it go on the side and I'll take my tool and I'll push down and it just, whoop, just buries just like that. And then I'll re-level it at the top. And I've got I've got 4 of these little guys, little thimble cacti. Same thing, just take it, whoop, push that root, take my tool, backfill the gravel around it. And I love that there's gonna be 3 guys right next to each other. I'm gonna make them at little different heights too. If one feel like needs to kind of go back here. So I'm gonna see if we can make that happen. I'm gonna take the bottom of it and I'm gonna just push. This is sometimes handy to have 2. So I can't get my finger all the way back there. There, that helped it stay in place so I can take my tool and go around it. I want to make sure I want the exact orientation. I want them to be just like that. Okay, got a couple left here, some sempervivums. Nice level variation happening. There's a higher one, a middle one, and a low level one. That kind of composition is really gonna make this feel very complete and just nice to look at. I want to make sure he has a buddy. So I'm going to put a second one right next to it. Actually, I'm going to put it behind it. Sometimes the rounder edge helps a little bit with the burying. So I don't want to accidentally break too much of my roots. But I got really low on my gravel. You can see that dip down. So I'm going to add more. So you'll be doing this as you build. Plant, add, plant, add. Okay, make sure that I'm not burying that little guy too much, but we'll clean it up at the end too. Okay, got one, and I'm gonna try to get him back here. I tried to start from the back, but then I'm looking at it and I'm like, it just feels like it needs one more back there. And again, I'm gonna take both my tools, gonna help myself here. Just kind of squish it down, making sure that that gravel is around my roots, which it is. Good. And then I have this little cute Chrysilla. I'm going to put him also back here. Let's see if I can do that. I'm really challenging myself on this making right when I've got my big piece right in front of me. But lessons learned. The good thing is you guys are learning how to do this. If you make a mistake, you can take it out, you can fix it. Nothing is set in stone. Well, it's set in gravel, I guess, but. And I have a little roots showing over here, so I'm gonna do that, just a little shovel of that gravel back there to make sure that this Chrysilla is nice and buried. Okay. I've got one sempervivum left. I'm gonna kind of wait on that Got my wood still. And this branch here, I'm gonna choose to kind of break mine up a little bit. I'm gonna put it in a couple different areas. Got a nice hole right here. You can really stay within your glass, kind of, you know, ship in a bottle effect, or you can really come out of the glass. I think that looks really, really neat when you have kind of that feeling of overgrowth. But again, this is your artistic discretion. You can use all of the materials we sent, we use some of them. It's up to you. It's what you like. It's what you're attracted to, what you think looks good. But really our goal here is to really teach you how to plant them correctly for longevity and health. Good, I just kind of like I made a little trio there of my wood. Start to stick my shells in here a second. But before I do that, I'm going to use my bouldery glass here. Get these guys in first. The last thing that we're going to do, or what I like to prefer to do, is the glass. This colorful glass and my decorative top dressing kind of stuff at the end. I'm looking pretty good on gravel here. Finding little nooks and crannies with these glass chunks, your boulders, kind of really bury them. You want to feel like they're weathered in here and they've been here a while. Really makes a complete piece. Love that, how that worked just naturally. And the sand dollar, I feel like it's definitely a nice moment on the side. I'm going to see if I can kind of bury it a little bit so you almost see it kind of from the side angle. And we've got some really beautiful, colorful blue shells here in our kit. Make sure that we get them kind of everywhere. You can push that guy back there. Wonderful. Some beautiful pop of this chartreuse. You see the top is a lot more kind of fluffy than the bottom. I like to just use the best top. And since I have a small piece here, I'm going to be really specific about where I put these little tufts, these little bushes. I'm going to find little holes in my piece as you start to look. Like where could this stick and go and kind of be a pop of color, and also filling in some of that negative space. Negative space isn't a bad thing in your arrangement. Just be really purposeful where it happens. Nice. Kind of making this pop of color everywhere too. In my piece, at least, that's kind of what I'm liking to see. But if you're not into that, you know, you could save it for a later day, or you know, as this piece ebbs and flow, you can always add. I want to get a little bit in the backside here. Don't want that to be forgotten. The thing with the glass, you know, it's really a 360 piece. There's lots of moments, no matter where you're going to put this in your home or office, or even on your patio. You want points of interest everywhere. Got our air plants still, and those again are going to be kind of last. We're not burying these. I'm really liking this kind of like right set in the middle of that branch. But this little funky dude, I feel like it'd be neat. He's a natural curvature too, so I feel like it'd be neat to kind of have them coming out like that. But I'm not going to do that because I want to put my glass in first. You can put them anywhere you want. You can put it in one spot. You can put it trickling throughout. You can have like a river running through it. Maybe it starts from the center and kind of runs through an area. I like the idea of a little in the back again, so I'm going to take a little shovel of that back there, and also on the side by this beautiful section of plants. Nice. Good. Okay. Feeling pretty good. I still have one little sempervivum. I'm just not feeling it for me, so I'm going to put him somewhere else in a different piece. Before I start to get the last elements of my air plants, and I'm not able to get here, I'm going to clean up my plant to where I've got all this glass and gravel out from the center of it. And I've got a lot in my one here. This pointy end of my stick is really helpful for that. Just gently, I'm not poking it or anything like that. I'm just kind of gently popping them out. Do a double check, make sure everything is clean. See if we can try to clean this guy over here just a little bit. Shake that loose. Okay, so I know I'm gonna put this in the middle. This Funkiana, I want to kind of ripple through the back here, kind of curled up. I'm not burying it, I'm just setting it atop. And that's what it's gonna like, just like that. Neat. Oh, perfect, the glass holds it for me. And this last guy is gonna be in front. Got a little material left, but that's okay. That was my choice to use what I wanted. I have some beautiful kind of pearled shells and trickle those a little bit, just in a few spots. We sell these DIY materials. If you want some more of something, you can look online on our store. Sell lots of different botanical options for you guys to continue your endeavor of botanical art creations. But I feel like I'm pretty good. I'm feeling really full and done. I feel I love it. Now it's time to figure out how to care for it, how to keep this beautiful piece alive, and that's what we're going to talk about next. All right, how to keep this baby alive. We're going to talk about how to water this. The first thing that we have to remember is to put this in a place with lots of bright, indirect or direct light. Most of us are going to put this in our home or office inside, so just make sure you're putting it in a room with lots of windows. Watering is important, but it's really the last thing that you're going to need to think about in order to make this piece survive and give it everything that it needs. Being in a glass terrarium like this, a little water is going to go a long way. So we're going to wait quite a while in between our waterings. And when we do water, we're going to use a spritz bottle versus a watering can. We want to make sure we don't overwater this. When you planted this, you know how little medium that there is in there, and those roots are so fine and hair-like. Again, a little water is going to go a long way. I use a little hand mist spray bottle. We sell these on our online store. I collect rainwater. If you do, please, I invite you to use that. There's something magical about rainwater. But if you don't fret, just use some tap water. Use tepid tap water so it's not too hot or too cold. I'm gonna take our piece and just start to shoot in at the base, because we know our soil-loving and rooted plants need to get the water at the base. Watering the leaves of the succulent or cacti are not gonna do anything. But our air plants eat and drink through their leaves, so we do need to water those leaves. But my piece is so small, I'm not even pinpointing my tillandsias at all, but as I'm watering the base of my succulent and cacti, that evaporation, humidity, and that kick up of that water is watering the tillandsias. I'm not gonna water my succulents and cacti and then come back and water. I'm really just aiming for the base of the soil-loving plants, and that excess water that's spritzing up is hitting my tillandsias at the same time. The great thing about glass too is that we can see the water kind of coming through, and you'll see kind of like some legginess of that water dripping through that aggregate there, and want to make sure that you're looking at that as you water, so you're not seeing water pool at the bottom of your terrarium. That's too much water. But I'm going to take another pass of watering and look at it again and see kind of where I'm at. Don't see any pooling of water, but I do see it kind of striated throughout, and that's a good sign. It means I've really got some depth on that watering there. Enjoy this piece, put it in a room that you are in a lot so you can enjoy it and see it every day. The frequency of your watering is something like this, maybe every couple of weeks, but take a look at it before you water it. Again, this is going to be well watered from this watering today for at least a couple of weeks. But good light, good airflow in your room, and that's really the key to success. Thank y'all for joining us. We're so excited to see what you made. Little Ollie, the shop dog, can't wait to see it. You can follow us at Instagram at Articulture, Facebook Articulture Designs. Please use hashtag #ArtIsAlive to share your beautiful creations with us. We're excited to see what you did. Please, I invite you to check out our online store where we have all kinds of DIY goodies to expand and help you grow in your world of botanical art.